Welcome to Disengaged, the podcast. I'm Leah Harding, your host.
If I flip a coin, I'll stay. If I flip a coin, I'll go.
You flip a coin?
No, but it doesn't matter what it lands. It just tells me what feeling. If it lands, say, flip a coin, I'll stay. Flip a coin, I'll go. Like in the air and it lands, I'm like, oh, good, this is what I wanted. Or it's like, oh,
interesting.
That's not what I wanted. Then I just go with the other one.
They did that to Rachel on Friends.
Like, how do we self-advocate for ourselves, like, on a day-to-day basis? Because, like, we have, like, these big moments and big decisions, and those are all important to self-advocate for, of course. But I feel like to do those bigger things, you build up with smaller things. So, like, what does that look like? This week on the podcast, we have two people that I hang out with all the time. I see you guys probably twice, 3 times a week. I mean, Anne, I see you a lot.
Every day, I wish.
Yeah, I know, right? And then James, I also wish it was more, but we do see each other quite a bit. We have James Cunningham.
Hello.
Woo, and Anne Kosanke.
Yeah,
welcome. So we're all actually in grad school together. You might not know that about me, but I'm in grad school. We're in Syracuse, New York right now, and we're in a studio, which is fun.
Where better to be than Syracuse, New York?
It's honestly, it's not winter anymore.
City
Other than
dreams.
Rochester, New York.
It is a city of dreams. James, you've been here a while.
Yeah, I've been here the past 5 years. I love it. It's grown on me.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
James's favorite thing to say in every single class is it's a beautiful day in Syracuse, even if it's not a beautiful day in Syracuse.
It could be like literally throwing up rain. James is like, it's so nice.
Beautiful day.
It's like hail is pelting me in the face, and he says it's a beautiful day, but, you know, mindset.
Do you guys feel like you didn't self-advocate by saying yes to coming on this pod?
No, I wanted to come on this pod.
Okay, good.
It's been a dream of mine.
Wow.
Since
really? Since the birth of this
since
pod?
2
or
weeks
since,
ago.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Okay, so like how have you guys self-advocated recently? Because when I asked you, you're like, yes, I'll do it. So what came to mind when I asked you if you wanted to be on?
Yeah, so I guess I take it away unless Anne.
Right ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, self-advocating has been something I've been working towards. It's not something I always do to the best of my ability. But after I graduated undergrad, I was actually a TV, radio, and film major at Syracuse with a philosophy minor, looking to get into the industry. All my friends were applying to jobs. And there was a part of me that said, hey, James, maybe that's not the path for you. Everyone seemed to be going that way, and I just wanted to take a year off, go travel, see the world. I didn't want to take the conventional route. Like, my inner compass was telling me to do one thing, even though the conventional was to do something else. So going against family, going against your friends, going against your peers, everyone's like, this doesn't make sense what you're doing. And I say, well, it makes sense to me.
Okay, when you say your gut, what do you mean? Like, how did that manifest for you?
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I've been trying to listen to myself, so it's something I try to cultivate, but it's not very empirical, but I feel something. It tells me to go a certain way, not verbally, like, hey, James, you should do this, but there's an opportunity and I get pulled to it, or I'm interested in it. Like another way, I was in your cohort before, as you knew, in public diplomacy and global communications, and I felt a pull away from that to take other classes in international relations. And this pull kept pulling at me, kept tugging my leg, saying, hey, maybe you're not in the right spot. Maybe you got to try something else. In public diplomacy, there's a lot of me not feeling happy with where I was, and that's another aspect of it. We're studying public diplomacy. Yeah.
That's the cohort he's mentioning.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah,
He's a traitor, by the way.
I am a traitor.
I know he left.
But that's the thing. Like, I didn't want to leave my friends. Like, it doesn't really make sense. I'm more of a public diplomacy person than in international relations. But there's something in me that's saying, hey, there's some classes, you're not happy with where you are. And it feels weird to switch over midway through a program when it's only like a year and a half. But I was like, would I be happy in this situation? And I like to do the flip the coin thing, where it's like, if I flip a coin, I'll stay. If I flip a coin, I'll go.
You flip a coin?
No, but it doesn't matter what it lands. It just tells me what feeling. If it lands, say, flip a coin, I'll stay. Flip a coin, I'll go. Like in the air, and it lands, I'm like, oh, good, this is what I wanted. Or it's like, oh,
interesting.
that's not what I wanted. Then I just go with the other one.
They did that to Rachel on Friends when she was pregnant, and Phoebe was telling her like, oh, you're actually not pregnant, and she got super sad, and then she was like, just kidding, you are pregnant. And it's this whole thing. Go on. I mean,
it works.
So she actually wanted to be. That's how you
actually
figure out what you want.
It works.
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer Aniston was like, that's a sick game to play on someone, but it works.
It's true.
Do you flip a coin, Anne?
I do not flip a coin. I basically do like a battle with myself in my mind for a while. I hope for like some divine revelation, and then honestly for me, like the bodily responses just come back into play.
You have strong ones.
I have very strong ones. And the thing is, like, if you repress it, no matter how much you try to repress your feelings about something, they're always going to come back. I, of course, am in public diplomacy and global communications. I was about to be a law student. I had taken the LSAT a couple months, like last year, and I was planning to go to law school.
Because you passed the LSAT.
I did pass the LSAT.
This is Anne Kosanke, smartest woman.
I
just
did
takes the
pass
LSAT for fun.
It was I would never wish to take that test ever again. And if you're studying for the LSAT right now, God bless you. But I took it. I was applying to law schools. I got into law schools. My entire family thought I was going to law school because, I mean, how wouldn't they? I was basically saying, like, I'm going to be a lawyer. And everyone in my life was like, oh, like my dad was telling everyone, like, my daughter's going to be a lawyer. And it was a very easy route for me to say, I'm going to law school. And it felt like every time I told someone that they were putting me on a pedestal, and like
you got the validation.
The everyone
dopamine
sees
rush.
Like lawyer, oh, like that means success, that means money, like that's somehow all that matters when you tell someone like your job. Because when I say public diplomacy, the first thing is, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with that? I don't know, but that's okay. But I went home from school winter break, and I could not get out of bed. I completely shut down. I couldn't like even think of doing anything. And I didn't really realize until probably in January when I started applying to public diplomacy and this program and to other MPA, MAIR programs and I was so excited about applying to them. And I finally got like my Anne spunk back. That's so cringy.
No.
James is looking at me
spunk?
like I'm insane.
Anne spunk is real,
though.
though.
I like it.
Come on. Like finally was me again.
Yeah.
And I just realized like, oh, I don't want to be a lawyer. When we talk about gut feelings, it's actually a very scientific thing. And I've written about this, shameless plug, on Newhouse Insider, the science behind gut feelings. And it's just your body. You are constantly all day taking in information, behaviors of other people, like the weather, like everything you take in each day is information that your body is constantly, like, think of it as files inside of you. It's constantly filing. Everything impacts you. And so when you go to make a decision, your body has already registered that information, and unconsciously, like subconsciously or consciously, you already know, like the information's already inside you. So like if I took a route home one day that I was walking and someone yelled at me, without realizing it or not, I'm not taking that route home again. So you already know, like in terms of law school, like I know that I like to write. I know that I like to be creative and talk to people. Was I going to get that from a law firm? No. And so I knew that, and my body knew that, but it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. I just knew that it was going on inside of me. And then I think that's why I shut down. And to bring it away from law school, I have another funny little story that Leah and I have been talking about.
Oh, is this
so relevant?
The current unfolding of events?
It is.
I'm so intrigued.
Yes.
Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
No.
I wonder if James even knows this, because he left.
We're about to drop some lore. Well, Anne is. I'm just privy to it.
It's pretty funny. It's not that funny, but. So 2 months ago, I went to Thailand. And I know what you're thinking, wow, Thailand. And that's what everyone has said. That's pretty freaking cool. And it was, you guys. I did numerous things, saw a lot of places. It was super cool. I played with some elephants in some dirty water. And one of the elephants took the water and sprayed it all over me, which I thought, that's some harmless fun. Like, who gets to have that experience with an elephant? Well, fast forward about a week later, I flew home, and flying home, I had tinnitus. I got back. Leah can attest to this. I got into class and I was like, I was not myself at all.
We were like, is Anne still in Thailand? Because there's like a shell of a human here.
It was basically like The Hangover, like what happens in Thailand. But I was like a shell of myself, and I had to basically tell my professors, like, listen, I'm not going to be able to concentrate in class because my ears are constantly ringing. If you've ever had tinnitus, it's like a high frequency noise. Like, think of a TV just kind of very high pitched in your ears 24/7. And so I basically exhausted all options of, I went to my PCP, I went to the PA on campus, I went to Barnes, I went to an audiologist, an ENT, basically any ologist I tried to see. And my body was telling me there is something wrong. Anyways.
Honestly, self-advocating in the medical space is like,
it's so hard.
A whole other thing.
And I went to urgent care kind of as my last resort. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. It turns out I had E. coli in a very elegant sense. Like, they couldn't have made that more,
from an elephant.
Right. E. coli.
It's pretty cool.
Maybe the E's for elephant.
Could be.
It's crazy.
Should be.
Sorry
to laugh at your misfortune.
No, please. Like, I'm hoping that.
But you knew.
Yeah, I did know.
You knew. And you were like, no, you were just looking for someone to like help in your like self-advocation journey, right?
And you know what? You told me that it could be a parasite, and I listened, and I went back to the doctor and said, do you think it could be a parasite? And they were like, that's pretty rare.
Classic American doctors. They're like, no one gets parasites anymore. It's like, yeah, we do.
I mean, I guess this is to say, like, your body knows best, and it will always push you if you're not listening. Whatever the case may be.
No one advocates for you, like, your physical body.
For lack of to put it in relationship terms, like, I'm going to break up with this idea, or I'm going to break up with you, but I don't really know why. Like, my body is saying I need to go in a different direction, but I don't have a reason. Like, you might not be super toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, law school wouldn't I would have gotten through it. Professors I had numerous conversations, and they were like, you'd be a great law student, but you wouldn't want to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of recognizing the difference of, it might not be the worst situation. You might not have E. coli. I hope you don't.
I hope so too, for my sake. Oh, jeez.
You might not
You're gonna go home later and be like, "Oh no, I hung out with Anne and my stomach hurts."
It's not contagious, by the way. You might not have that extreme feeling that I've had in the situations that I've said, but it's hard. Like, when there's not another, like, oh, I'm not going towards A, but there isn't a B. You just are. I don't want this anymore. Kind of like, I feel like you could attest to that
Yeah.
too.
I mean, it made me think about back when I was a good old junior in undergrad.
So long
So
ago.
long ago. It was like 4 years ago. It was kind of long.
Wow.
Yeah, not too
Okay,
long.
keep-
I'm
no.
a youngin'. But I was running this, I started a comedy club on campus, and it was doing really well. It was successful. And I thought at the time that I wanted to go into stand-up comedy, and that's why I started this place. It was doing really well. But a part of me was like, I hate this. Like, this is not enjoyable at all.
Stand-up?
Yeah, I'm like, I did it. And like the days that were tough was like, oh, I don't really like this. The days that were good, like when I did well, it's like, I don't really like this either. And I didn't really watch stand up. I didn't do all this stuff. But it was successful. Like the place was going well. Like, why would I go away from that? And I went to this like nonprofit in West Virginia and had this moment of revelation where it's like, I'm not supposed to go into comedy, because I also had an internship in Austin at a comedy club that summer. And that was my plan. Like, I was going to go to Austin. I was going to join the comedy scene. And then I was on this hill and I had a revelation, like, I'm not supposed to go there. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then, long story short, I was looking at the stars. I looked down and I'm like, I'm supposed to go to this farm. This is where I'm supposed to be. And then after I graduated, I was looking for that same revelation of like, tell me where to go, universe. Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
Tell me a sign. And I didn't get any signs. I didn't get one sign.
No.
Stupid universe.
I know, but that's the thing. Like,
It just wasn't listening.
sometimes, no, it was listening. Sometimes, like, it's our lives. Sartre says we're condemned to be free. And I believe that. It is hard to be free and make a choice for yourself. It's easy to listen to someone else and be like, go down this path, do this.
Do you feel like it gets easier?
No. No.
Well,
That's
and that's your
encouraging.
podcast
if it
for
got
the day.
if it got easier, like everyone would do it. Like
Right.
it's not easy, but it's like anything. You could practice the skill. You can get better at recognizing what you're feeling and what you're thinking. Like you get better at it, but going against I care about what other people think. Call me crazy. Like it does affect me.
Yeah, same.
It affects me. And I would love to get to a point where we'd be like, well, I don't care what other people think. But it doesn't matter to me. But like, yeah, of course what my family thinks affects me. And what other people think affect me. So, yeah, I'm like trying like through meditation, through like therapy, like what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, and the best course of action following. And I mean, we're about to graduate. So it's that same thing. And I get in a place of where there's uncertainty in the future. I start just to like dissociate and just disconnect from everything. So there's two ways that I approach it. It's like, okay, there's obviously a history in myself of why I react the way I do. So one end of it that I'm working on therapy is like figuring out why that's a reaction and try to find the safety in it and work with your therapist. I'm not a therapist. But what I'm doing is like, where did that come from? How can I give it a new job?
What is that? Like,
For myself?
yeah.
Let's get into it.
I'm not going to go into full details because everyone's got their own family story, but obviously family in your household affects how you react to things in certain situations. And everyone has kind of their shtick. But yeah, I'm trying to work through it, trying to like recognize when I do get in those dissociative points, like, okay, I see you. Thank you for trying to protect me, because like that's what it's trying to do. And
That part of you.
yeah, it's like a defense mechanism. Like the way I understand it's like you have the defense mechanisms, you have exiled parts, and it's like a system within yourself.
So internal family system.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
IFS.
IFS. There we go.
There's an actual acronym for it?
I guess
Yeah,
so.
Dick Schwartz is like the father of it. I haven't done a whole lot. My
It's
parents
great.
and sister do it.
It's great. I'm learning a lot
Interesting.
from it. It helps me recognize what those things are, and then when I could recognize them, I could find what's pinpointing it, and then so that's one way I'm looking at it. But the other way I was talking to Leah about the other day was I can't just hope everything will work out. you know? I'm not going down the lazy river of life. Like, that's obviously a path and it works for people. But if I want something to happen, I have to create a strategy and a plan to do it.
Mhm.
Like the SMART, I forgot what the acronym stands for, but it's pretty much just laying out a strategy of a time frame. Is it achievable? Is it measurable? And is it, I forgot what the T was, but just like a plan of this is where I want to go. How am I going to get there?
Right.
Because there's a philosopher that says a sail with no port, no wind is favorable. So it's like if you don't have a direction where you're going, no matter what happens, you're kind of just like a bag in the wind.
Wow.
So
True.
yeah, we'll see where I go with that. I'm like in a big transitionary period. Don't
Don't you feel like it's a numbers game though? Like you're playing the game now. You're like, okay, I'm not going to do the lazy river. I'm going to do the proactive river. And like
proactive. Take some here, lads. It's
proactive
gonna be a
river.
proactive river.
Oh, no. E.
River?
coli.
E. coli. Proactive river.
Make sure there's no E. coli in the proactive
Yeah.
river.
Wow.
Mm.
True. Avoid that nasty water.
Sorry.
Anyway, we digress. What was I even saying? I don't even know. Oh, the numbers game thing. Like you're doing the due diligence. You're putting in the work. Like do you think that something from that will come back to you?
Yeah. This is the funniest part of it all. Tell God your plans, he'll laugh. Or you want to tell God a joke, tell him your plans. I know I'll create a strategy and a plan and I'll try to follow it. Something's going to come in and just mess everything up. And that's exactly what it happens. And that's exciting too, because I don't know what's the best for me. But if I just like wait for this surprise to happen, like it may never happen. Like we're talking about networking, like you don't know who you're talking to or what's going to come of that situation. Like one conversation with a person could just create a new world of opportunities for you, and you would never know if you took the steps. So that's kind of like the path thing. Like I'm walking. I love wandering. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I
You're
love
such a
wandering.
wanderer.
So when I'm wandering, I'm like, I know where I want to go.
Do you like go out and you're like, now's my hour of wandering?
Well, yes. It was. I would do it more abroad, and I would just be like, I want to go here. It's 5 miles away, and I'll start walking. And if I see someone playing music, I'll like go sit next to them. I'm like, this is not where I wanted to be, but like this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Oh God, you're like the person that walks slow on the sidewalk.
Not always, but sometimes.
I can't.
No.
But it's like a new opportunity that I couldn't foresee happening. But like I'm open to the opportunity, and I'm like, oh, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And it always leads somewhere fun. Sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it does.
I was in New Zealand for a while, and there was a group of us, and they were like, okay, we're gonna go out into Auckland and just like wander around. And the guy who we were with, he was hitchhiking across the country and somehow just ended up in our group. So it was me, my friend Tasha, and his name was Carlos. And he was like, let's just wander and see what happens. Like, and we were like, okay, I'm hungry now. He's like, don't make any plans on your own. Like, look around you and like dinner will appear. And I'm like, okay, Gandhi. And he's like, you know, if we want to go to this side of town, like a means of transportation will appear. I kid you not, we ended up eating dinner in someone's home, and then we actually spent the night there. Like, I wouldn't recommend this like for everyone, but like it kind of was like in that moment there was nowhere to eat, nowhere to stay. I was like a broke 18-year-old, didn't know how to get wherever it was. We didn't know where we were going, and like all of these things started to like open up. But like you had to be open to like the beginning of the chain reaction, and also be open to like the numbers game of like you might talk to a few people and like that's not where you're going to end up having dinner. But like you needed to talk to those other people to then talk to the person who ends up being your dinner person. This is a very strange example, but it kind of flows though. But like back to like self-advocating, like your gut, I think, is part of that guide that tells you where to go, that is pointing you. And I think if you're in the like, and like in your law school river, like it's like being with someone who's like good, and that's fine, you can do it. But like, is that what is bringing you life and adventure, and like does that put the light in your eyes? Like you can do so many things, but like where is your gut leading you that is so much more fulfilling. And I know that sounds really privileged. I do think there's a lot of privilege in this.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like it's a privileged thing to say. I definitely hear that. So, but I do think it goes down still though to like moment by moment thing. Like as humans, you still actually do have that privilege. I think to what extreme the privilege is there depends a lot on like socioeconomic background and
Agreed. I was just reading a speaker that's coming to Syracuse is Wendy Perlman, and she just wrote a new book about Syrian refugees, and it's an interviewing series about like, going through their lives and what it is to like find home. And one of the characters, is a real person in the story, like just kept having the choice to either stay or get a fake passport and try to like leave, and it like comes with so many consequences, but they just kept having that drive to like change something. So I really do think and then eventually like they left Syria, even that was their home and that's the place they loved, and they got to Germany after like 8 attempts of going to the airport with a different fake ID to try to get on the plane. Like they kept driving, they kept going. So like, yeah, obviously in my situation where I'm like debating whether to go to grad school or not is a lot less severe of like staying in an authoritarian regime, or like risking your life, or like getting out and completely relocating. But I do think the underlying fact is like your body, like I think of it as like the Holy Spirit will guide me where I need to go.
I told Leah we were going to get biblical today.
I knew it. Yeah.
This goes back to self-advocacy, because if I'm not, or if you're not advocating for yourself or communicating your needs on a daily basis and just expecting other people to read your mind, or expecting a job to come your way, or just going down that lazy river, you're going to start feeling resentment, which is not a fun, like not something you want to feel. I used to think that when someone said self-advocacy, that it was just like, you know, confrontation, and confrontations makes me deeply uncomfortable. I do not like confrontation. And when someone said self-advocacy, I would be like, okay, but I don't like confrontation. It's taken me a little while to learn that it's not confrontation. It's just like allowing yourself to like put energy into what matters to you. And if something like, if a relationship matters to you and you're upset with how it's going, you have to somehow, you might have to be the one to change something up.
Yeah. It's putting out there the type of like desire that I think not self-advocating is always being a consumer of other people's self-advocation.
Like a people pleaser.
Yes.
Yeah, like you're always wanting, like I'm not going to self-advocate, I need Anne to self-advocate, and then I'm going to do that. And that's like putting so much on Anne or James. And like I'm not creating, it's kind of like content creation. Like if you're always consuming the music and you're critiquing it and you just don't like it, there's nothing good out there, or it's just not, or that's not the vibe I'm wanting or whatever. It's like, well, then make your own.
Yeah.
Like, guess what? You can. Like, you can do that.
Me?
You.
Oh,
Make your own music.
Make your own podcast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, just do your own thing. Like, make your own trip. Like, do it.
Don't complain about it if there's something. You know what? You were going to say something.
No, it's true. I like that point of like, don't complain about it. If there's something you could do, like act. It's like my dad just got a new girlfriend, and I was on the phone with him, and she was on speaker, and I didn't know, and I was like, okay, and I just like, I'll talk to you later, and then I called him up the other day. I'm like, hey, like I would never have done this in the past. I'm like, hey, that made me feel uncomfortable. Like I know you care about her. I don't know her. You know? Like, so next time, either give me a warning, because when I call you, I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to her. And like, that was hard for me to say. But
it's hard.
But it's not like a right or wrong thing too. It's not like someone's going to say, well, you're wrong. Well, if they do, it's like, well, that's okay. What you're saying is you disagree with me.
Yeah.
Not that it's
Yes.
wrong. Like there's a huge difference between those two.
Yeah.
My therapist always says someone cannot refute an I statement. Like if you say, I feel sad that I feel sad that you didn't text me back. They can't say, well, no, you don't. Like
they can say that.
But okay, but it's how you feel.
Yeah.
It's not like against them. Like they can't like refute how you feel because that's how
or
you
having
feel.
opinions. Like it's as simple as, you know, you guys wanted to go to like Applebee's the other day. Where was that? We have
Chili's.
a friend.
It was Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, and that one.
Yeah,
you missed out on that one.
Missed it, yeah.
Well, I feel like I got E. coli from that experience. Not gonna lie.
I threw up when I went home as well.
Like, you did throw up
Yeah,
because I felt
it was
so
really
sick.
bad. I felt terrible.
Now Texas Roadhouse is gonna sue us.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
not.
I'm not
Gut
defaming. It was
feelings.
true.
Yeah.
More like stomach problems
Yeah.
than gut feelings.
But what were you saying about
So like, okay. So like you guys were like, we want to go there. Like we have a Finnish friend, Bella, who's like ultra excited about all things America. And she was like, we need to go to like Texas Roadhouse. And it's like, well, I would rather for an American experience go to like another organization like Olive Garden, maybe.
Yes.
You know, I'd prefer a breadstick and something green other to like Texas Roadhouse. And it was like, this is a silly, big, long statement to just say that, like, it was an opinion that I had. I'd rather not go there. I put that out there. It's shot down. Now I have a decision to make. Do I go or do I not go? And, like, it's that, but on steroids for so many other different options in life. Like, even, okay, when we were driving back from D.C. together, like, James is driving, and I'm sitting in the front, Anne and Bella are in the back, and James is always listening to music. James is like music man. And I'm a silence girly, like music sometimes. And it was like, I don't know, it felt like 6 a.m. It was early.
It's like 8 or 9.
Like the music was so
2
loud, it
p.m.
felt like.
Was it 2 p.m.?
No way.
I'm just kidding.
But like it was like, okay, I'm sitting there in the car with you two, and like I can feel my body having a response to James having the radio or music playing. And it was just like a little loud. And everything in my body was like refuting this statement of what was happening right now. And I was like, okay, through therapy, through a lot of like explosions in the past of like not even knowing that why I'm irritated is because of that. Like checking in with self, literally doing like a full body scan and being like, okay, I am tense and angry. Why? Well, it's early, but why? It's early every day, you know? And it's like, well, there's music. Okay, what would you want? It's like, well, I would like there to be like 10 to 15 minutes just of no music. And it was like, okay, well, what if you said that to James? And it's like, I'm having this whole conversation with myself, and I'm like, first of all, I'm breathing, because my therapist says that when you're in that state, you're actually not breathing fully. So like your brain switches to it's either the prefrontal or back frontal or whatever. It wouldn't be frontal, it's in the back. But
Science stuff.
Backwards slow.
Backwards
some part
slow.
of your brain that's like a
Sounds
panic station. Yeah. And like, oh my gosh. Scrub it.
Do not cut that out.
I won't. Don't worry. And basically like having to like breathe into my current state, identify the problem, identify a reasonable response, you know, not like everyone be quiet for the next 6 hours as we drive back, but like, okay, advocate for yourself. So I was like, James, like, can we like turn the music off for a little bit? And James was like, well, I really like listening to music.
I think I said okay.
I feel like there was a little bit of a pushback, but
That's fair.
if that's your
Probably.
truth. But it's like, okay, so I had to say that, and then you could say no. So then but then I feel like a lot of the problem is gone because you have at least advocated. I think there is so much built up in us that just needs to say something.
Yes.
And then you can take matters into your own hands. Like I had my own noise canceling headphones that I can listen to like white noise or Mozart because I'm that person. But then I at least know I've tried.
Yeah.
And there's something I think very powerful about that.
And I think in that situation particularly, Like, I didn't know Leah didn't like to listen to music. Like, for me, like,
But I'm like, read my mind.
Yeah.
Can't-
Right.
Like, I'm so mad at you right now. Like, shut up,
Why is
James.
he
Like,
reading my mind?
yeah. Like, I
We
hate.
can't
And then
read
I'm
your
like, I
mind.
hate
Okay, men
Yeah.
are stupid.
yeah, we can't read your mind. I'm sorry. But it's like that communication was extremely helpful. And I think the other end of it is like advocating, but also listening, like actively listening.
Mhm.
Because you could say something and then listen to someone where it just like goes in, goes out. But like, I need to like fully understand, like, oh, Leah didn't want to listen to music. She doesn't like my music. Like, screw her. But I'm like, oh, maybe like this is upsetting her. Like, Leah, why don't you like I don't know.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
But it's like, let me understand where you're coming from, because that could help me make a decision better. Like, because if you just got mad at, and I would have been like, what did I do? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like so
But then
helpful.
that's also on me to be I have to know what it is that I'm asking for.
Mm.
And that takes a little bit of energy to check in with yourself and like try to figure out, why do I have a stomach ache when it's not food related? It's something else. Or why are my fingernails digging into my palm when I'm in this car right now? It's like, okay,
James stinks.
because like the
Smells like
body,
fish.
oh my gosh, the body tells you the thing. And then it's like the brain is just a little slow to catch up. And then you have to speak and like use your adult words.
Yeah.
Like, I want that toy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we're taught that as kids, but then we
Mhm.
lose it as adults.
The body is so smart. I mean,
It's true.
come on.
It is.
So smart.
So cut that out. But that's where the resentment filters in. Like, if you were to say, like, if James said, no, we're not, I want to keep the music on, and then you're sitting there like, I hate James, or like that resentment builds up.
Contempt.
And because, like, again, it's hard to tell yourself, oh, this person can't read my mind. And it's hard because also, like, you want that person to know it before you have to say it. Like, sometimes self-advocacy is hard because you want this other person to like care without you having to say, I want you to care about this too. Or
Right.
like, I wish you knew this about me, but I don't want to have to explicitly say XYZ.
Like that somehow takes the magic out of it or something, because
Yeah.
you're not mind reading, which is, it goes
Yeah.
back to the like, is that healthy?
Yeah.
And that's not just in like love relationships. Like, if it really meant a lot for me that you, I don't know, called me when I texted you that I'm sad,
Mhm.
and you didn't call me, so now I'm sad and mad at you. It's like, well, I could have said, hey, it would mean a lot to me if you called me right now.
Mhm.
Like that. Then if you call me, it doesn't mean you don't care
Yeah.
and love about me just because I had to say it. It means I'm letting you know what my needs are.
Exactly. I mean, I told Leah this in the car, but I had a major panic attack last Friday, which was just a couple days ago, and I didn't understand it. I was just crying on my bathroom floor. I hadn't had a big panic attack like that in a while, and I sat there and I was like, what is this coming from? And I was going to call Leah, or I was going to call Bella, and then I said to myself, like, they don't want me bothering them. Like, why would I bother them? That would be embarrassing. Like, I wouldn't even know what to tell them. And then I've since told this to both Leah and Bella, and they both said, of course, we would want you to call. But my mind is just, I'm already thinking, like, I'm assuming these things, like, why would I want to be a burden on this person? Like, I'm not communicating to anyone what I needed in that moment. I was just sitting there like, no one's here to help. But
That like horrible feeling that like if you died, no one would know or
Yeah.
care,
yeah. And
which is not true. Yeah. But it can get that serious of a feeling
Yeah.
sometimes.
yeah.
Like, what is the point of any of this? Like, no one is calling me or whatever.
yeah. When in reality, like, they're right down the road. They would have been at my doorstep in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So your mind tries to lie to you. As much as your body will say, exactly what you need in different ways, your mind will try to lie to you. And you've just got to
How
through a
so
lot
lie to
of-
you in the sense that like in this case like,
Like-
they're not gonna care.
Yeah. Like, oh, just shake it off. Like, you'll be embarrassed tomorrow if you call them up and like spill your whatever's going on right now. Like, figure it out on your own. And then it's like, what? That's not, we're human. We need each other. Like, why am I crying on my bathroom floor alone? Which is in a way therapeutic.
Don't knock it till you tried it.
Right. But it's just like, shut up, mind. Like,
Yeah.
I want my friends.
It reminds me of like the protector. It's
Mm.
like you don't want to call him.
The IFS protector.
Yeah.
I'll put show notes in this at the bottom of this episode just so you when you're listening you can like look at this afterwards for what we're talking about when we say IFS. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So just like that protector, not in that scenario and a lot of other scenarios, it's like something in the past like affected you or me. Say like I had a similar thing where I wanted to reach out to Leah and I did. And I sent her a little poem that I was working
Yeah.
on. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to her about this. Like, I'm embarrassed. Because, like, obviously somewhere in my past, I reached out to someone and they rejected me. So it's like your body and your mind is, like, trying to protect that
Right.
yourself again because it hurt. So it's like, I'm going to protect this because I don't want to feel like that again. Even though we're maybe in a new environment that's safer or not. Like, but I think for me, it was important to recognize, like, hey, like, I trust Leah. I don't think she's going to send this around and, like, make fun of me for it.
Right. It was beautiful.
Thanks.
Let's read it now.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
But it was something, like, I felt vulnerable about. And I'm like, I want to change my wiring. And I'm going to, like, act differently. This is, like, going back to... I used to think all these people don't like me. I'm like, they don't like me. They don't like me. It was, like, some old people I used to be friends with. And I'm like... I saw them at the bar and I'm like, what if I just pretended like they did?
Like they liked you?
Yeah. Like change the mindset, which then changed the behavior.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, they do like me. And I went into the situation like way more confident. Like I was having fun with them. I hung out with them for like...
Self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah.
if you will.
Mhm.
So, but like the way I usually do it is like, for that group, it's like, they don't like me. They think I'm a loser. They think this, they think that. And then I'm like, this is just my mind. And I'm taking this conflict resolution class, and it's for managers, you make assumptions based on data. Like, I see you roll your eyes. I can make an assumption what that means, but I don't know until I ask you, like, hey, Leah, I saw you rolled your eyes. What does that mean? You know?
I got a text from my mom.
Yeah.
And she said something crazy.
And it could be something, usually is completely unrelated to you.
Or
like,
you're a terrible boss.
yeah,
You know?
it could be.
Yeah, no, I
But-
hear you though.
But that's the thing. It's like, I usually like assume. And just recently, like the last 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, this is the information that I observed. I made assumptions about it. I don't know if this is true. Why do I have to act like it is? And if it means so much to me, I could ask the person. Like my roommate was sad, or I sensed he was sad. I'm like, first it was like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to make him upset? And I'm like, why are you upset? He's like, oh, some of my family's like not doing well. I'm like, glad I asked.
Yeah.
And not thought it was me.
And trust your gut, your
Yeah.
instincts, and you ask the thing. I think something that we're working on in my immediate family is like if I ask something, it's like if I sense that like a family member is like angry or something, and I'll be like, hey, are you mad? I think something that we just discussed in therapy recently was to ask like, hey, I'm sensing something. Are you okay? Instead of even putting the branding on the person. Like, don't even taint it with what you think it is. Just be like, are you okay? I'm sensing something. And then suddenly the self-advocacy has now switched. Now they need to self-advocate. And they need to say if they need something. And I don't need to bear the burden of trying to self-advocate for them. Like, you know, in my family unit, a lot of the times, like, I'll be like, well, then I'll be like, this is how the conversation goes. Like, are you mad? oh, are you sure? Like, but I sensed this and I sensed that. And I'm like, well, maybe do you want dinner? Like, do you want to go for a walk? It's like, oh, you probably, like, could I help you with it? And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, let them self-advocate for themselves as well.
Mhm.
Like, I think trying to solve a puzzle in someone else just doesn't really go somewhere that it's not super beneficial in my experience.
What do you think? I'm curious. What do you think you do if someone's not advocating for themselves?
I think something I'm trying to do is to say, like in like a relationship now, is I'll ask, like recently I've been like, hey, like I kind of sense something's off. And then they'll be like, no, everything's fine. And I'll be like, okay, if something is wrong. Well, this happened on a hike the other day. Like they were like, yeah, my knee hurts a lot. And so like every like 5 minutes, I'm like a broken record. Like, is your knee okay now? How's your knee? And then it's like, wait, Leah, stop. What I then said was, hey, if your knee hurts, just let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can try to, alter the course. But I'm not going to continue to check in on you. If that is helpful for you or not, let me know. But what do you want? Like, do you even need help? Like,
True.
like, am I just playing savior complex in all of these relationships that I'm in? It's like taking the bias out of it, let the person speak for themselves, and then ask them what they need.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to trust the person that they're indeed advocating. But that is
Right.
everyone's own journey.
Mm.
I was going to say, like, if they don't advocate for yourself, then you might just have to turn towards acceptance. And, like, if that's, like, if you've already communicated, like, if you've already reached out a hand and they're not willing to meet you halfway, like, you might just have to, accept that.
Yeah.
Move on.
You can't do someone else's inner work for them.
Mm.
Which
Very good
sucks
point.
because I want to
Does.
do everyone else's inner work and not mine.
That's
We always wanna
usually-
fix
James, I
other
can
people
solve
and not
all of your
ourselves.
problems. Yeah, but let's not
Solve
talk about
them all.
mine.
And you know what? I'll also say that's why when people, like, that's why you're not really a burden on anyone, because we all are dealing with their own stuff, let's be honest. But when someone else like comes to me and needs help, that's not adding to my stress. That's like, it's honestly somehow therapeutic to be able to help someone else and be like, oh, listen, like nobody's life's perfect. Like, don't feel bad reaching out to someone.
I'm so glad I could turn to y'all for this and reach out, and you're both willing. And thank you. Thank you for being here.
I'm so
Thank you,
happy to
Leah,
be here.
for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. It's such a joy to know you both. And I love getting to share you a little bit with the world.
I'm so glad our rivers, we're in the same river right now.
We are in the
a little
same
bit
river.
at least.
We're in the same river. We're in the E. coli
James
river.
isn't.
Oh, no,
I'm not.
no,
But I'm
E.
still
coli,
around.
please.
Yeah, but it's great. Advocate.
This podcast was a production of the Anthology Group.